Okay, we're talking about the spiritual. And you know what, I always have something planned, because as soon as you don't have something planned, you know, you might need to have something planned. But we're kind of a small group, so maybe some of those plans might change. Talk to me about the spiritual. What is the spiritual? Hands. Yes.
The songs that came from the enslaved peoples from the African diaspora in America.
I love that. I love that. Oh, we have some more people. Come down front. You sat in the back too long. Come on down front. It's a new day. If you ever go to the theater, you will see me down front. I do not sit in the back. I get a different experience up front. Come on down. Oh my goodness. Come down, come, vieni qui, vieni qua. Oh, here's everybody. They must have just come from something. Hey there. All right. Would you tell them your definition of the spiritual again?
Oh, okay. What did I say? The songs that came from the enslaved peoples of the African diaspora in America.
I love it. Another definition. What is the spiritual? Yes.
It's a blend of African musical traditions through the lens of what was through a lot of expression in terms of Christian stories and parables and such.
Good. Somebody else. What is the spiritual? Oh, I like that. Yes. Very good. American for somebody
I
else.
just want to say that sometimes have hidden messages within the lyrics of the piece.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Somebody else? Hi. Somebody else? What is the spiritual? Yes.
I think it's a song that expresses a lot of the pain and agony slaves went through and how they overcame it with music.
I like that. I like that. Anybody else? Yes.
I think along with the expression of pain, it is a mode of relief.
Okay.
It's what it's what the slaves used to get them through the day while they were picking cotton, while they were going through their struggles. They sang these songs because I think it gave them relief. Like when I don't know, when I have something to do and I'm stressed out, I will start singing to relieve stress.
So a functional music.
Mm-hmm.
It served a function. You know what? This is so important because we perform this repertoire and we have ideas about it, but how many of us have really read and studied and to really know exactly what it is when there's so much written about European history and those composers? And sometimes we take for granted our own music. And so this is a very important discussion to have. So I always like to have an hour or so for the singers, but an hour for us to really talk about this. How about this? The spiritual is a documentation of the life of the enslaved Africans by the enslaved Africans. Okay? All right? And throughout our history, it's an African tradition to notate your history through your music. Not just in African culture, but in many cultures. And so, we're classical musicians. So, we think that we are it, we're studied. But hip hop and rap is just a further documentation of what? The life of Africans in America by them. You may not like the language, but it's their experience. Okay? It's their experience. I remember, I started studying voice at about 12 years old. And, for some reason, I was a fan of Maria Callas. Maybe that's because that was the only recordings that they had at the library. So I was listening to Maria Callas, and I thought, oh, this was exciting. And I was going to be a classical singer. And there was all this rap music going on around me. It just started coming out when I was in junior high. And I thought to myself, I'll be glad when this is over. And guess what? It hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't gone anywhere. And the more I look at it and discover, I see the same elements in the spiritual. Many of the same rhythmic elements in the spiritual. And nothing has changed, because if you go back to the African tradition and, the big kings and of the different tribes, they all had their court musicians, they had their court poets, and you could hear the music of the king progressing in a progression. If he was going to meet some other dignitary, you could hear all of his people, all of his musicians, all of his poets, everybody, they were following along in a caravan. You heard the king coming before he got there. And he had a court of drummers and woodwind players and musicians, and he had this man that knew the history of the whole African, and guess how he would tell this whole African tradition kind of thing? In somewhat of a rap to the music. He could go back and talk about the whole history of that culture. Okay? So we haven't changed that much. Okay? And so now we have this spiritual. I need to look, I need to do some research and see who named it that. African Americans didn't name it that. Europeans, and we're part of that European tradition. Well, what do? We categorize things. We got to put, we look at it and we study it and we say, oh, we're going to put this in this category. And we do it with voices, Oh, you a soprano, and you a mezzo soprano, and you a contralto, and you this. Well, what is Marian Anderson? She could sing anything. She could sing tenor. She could sing contralto. She sang soprano for a while. She sang mezzo soprano. What's Shirley Verrett? She sang high soprano. She sang mezzo. She sang to sound good anywhere she sang. And so then we're going to categorize it some more, and we're going to say, well, what's Aretha? Well, Aretha's a soprano. Well, what's Whitney? Oh, she's a soprano too. Well, what's Anita Baker? Oh, well, she's a contralto. Well, Anita can sing high, low. She can go up there. Whitney could, we're going to categorize it. And say what your voice type is and all of that. And so we've done the same with this music. But I guess we have to run with it, all right? So the spiritual, many of the compositions that were created by the Africans were not necessarily all religious, spiritual. Okay? Some people categorize everything that was created by the enslaved Africans as a spiritual. That means the blues songs, the folk songs, everything. They're African American folk songs. So what's the difference in sometimes I feel like a motherless child? Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long way from home. A long way from home. My baby left me and I don't know why. My baby left me And I don't know why my baby left me. And I don't know why she took my money, she took the car, she left me high and dry. We would call one the blues, and we would call one a spiritual. Why? Text? The only thing that makes it spiritual, the one, the other, we would call it a spiritual because somebody decided to put in there, true believer. The blues guy could be talking about, I'm a true believer. I'm a long way. Do you truly believe me? I'm a long way from home. She put me out. But we call one a spiritual. Somebody called one a spiritual. And the other one called one, the blues. And so we can see the spiritual and the blues, they're first cousins. One would say that the blues is secular and the spiritual is sacred. Okay? And then we know that, Thomas A. Dorsey, who was a blues musician, with his influences with the spiritual and all of that, and city living changed the music. Because as people went into the cities, the blues became more popular, and then that made its way into the church with Thomas A. Dorsey. And so we have what is called gospel music. Okay? All from this idea, this spiritual. This spiritual. You know what I find very interesting? I thought about it today. You know what? Carnegie Hall is very particular about your programming when you submit a program to them, how they list it in their program booklet. And so if you list a spiritual, they put under the composer, which is right on the left-hand side of your program, they list traditional. And then they'll list the song, and then on the other side, they'll put who the arranger is of that song. And look at your Carnegie Hall programs. That's how they do it, okay? But if you program an old American song, which was arranged by Copeland, they don't put traditional. They put Copeland. And then they put the old American song. They put Copeland, Simple Gifts, which is a Shaker hymn. He didn't write that. They put Copeland, Go to Sleep, Little Baby, Hush You By, which is an African American lullaby that women who were the nursemaids and who took care of their enslavers' children would sing to their children before going off to take care of someone else. But they credit that to Copeland, okay? All those folk songs by Britain, they put Britain. They don't put traditional and then arranged by Britain. I'm going to ask them why. I don't know what that's about. I've done a few all-spiritual concerts there, and they put traditional, and then they put the arrangers. But for these European composers, they give them credit for the song. Have you noticed that, Dr. Patterson?
Yes.
What's that about? I don't know. We need to inquire. But okay, so we have now this spiritual that is now considered an art song for the concert stage. Who started that tradition? See, hands. We got to know about our American music. Yes.
Burley?
Burley. What's his full name?
Harrington Burley.
I love it. What did he do?
Well, he worked with, he had a choir.
Yes.
He did many things. He
Okay.
set these spirituals for a choir setting.
Okay.
And he also arranged the spirituals so that solo artists could perform them.
Primarily for solo artists.
Mm-hmm.
And so why did Burley's spirituals get out there?
Because other artists picked them up because they wanted to perform these pieces.
Anything else we know about Burley?
I should know more.
No, you want to, well, yes.
He also worked for recording, press.
Recording publishing, yes. So it's good if you work for a publishing house, yeah. And anything else about him?
And he studied composition with,
You all know it. It's wonderful. Somebody else speak out. Yes. What was the name of the school? The National Conservatory. Yes. And Dvorak was so what? He was so taken by this music. He heard Burley singing some of these. Come on, doctor.
No, I was just thinking of da 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 da.
Yes. And what did he do? He put it in what? New World Symphony. Yes, it's important. But yeah, it's important for the young ones to know all of this. Yes. And so it influenced this music. But guess what? You know what I find so interesting? There's a certain element of shame about this music because of the experience that it came out of. All right? What year are we in right now? This is what, 2000 what?
19.
When were the first enslaved Africans brought to this country? 1619. This is our 400th year anniversary. Did you know it? How many people told you about it? Well, now you know it. Although enslavement of Africans happened in many Protestant and Christian countries, it was only here in America that this great music, the spiritual, came forth. And out of the spiritual came what? Blues, gospel, rhythm and blues, soul, jazz, what else? Rock and roll. Country music is nothing but another form of the blues. Out of this spiritual, we change the musical landscape of the world. And we're ashamed of it. Everybody making money off of this music but us. Isn't that interesting? People going to Hamilton. I sent my mama and my stepmother and my father to Hamilton. I sent them on the third row C, on a Tuesday night, because that's the cheapest of the tickets that I could get, and that was $400. I went on my birthday, $350 a ticket, $700 to see Hamilton. Guess what they're doing in Hamilton? They're rapping. That came from straight out of Compton and up there in New York and all of that. We are paying $300 and $400 and $500 to see Hamilton, to hear folks rapping. To hear music that was created by a people that on many levels the world doesn't respect. And what I love about the Creator, he's making all the presidents people of color and all of that, and he doesn't deny where the music came from, and he doesn't deny his influences. But we deny ourselves. Isn't that something? Yeah. We don't want to hear a full concert of spirituals. Paul Robeson gave his first full concerts of spirituals in 1925. Did them in New York, did them at Orchestra Hall in Chicago, did them in other places. Yeah. We'll hear a full concert of Schubert songs. We'll go and hear Dichterliebe. Oh, we went to get dictionary, but oh, it was so wonderful. You know, it is. You know, we won't come and hear a full concert of spirituals. No, that's kind of lowbrow. So anyway, now we have the spirit. I have so much to talk about. I have my notes here, but you all have to say, okay, so what are we going to do? Okay. So interesting. So much that we see about Africans is negative. But to many others, we're so exotic. And that everybody wants to comment on our culture. And this isn't something that just happened. I was just, after dinner, was playing my cousin's piano and looking through her book and all of that, and had to be reminded that Debussy wrote some children's pieces. One is called Le Petit Negro, and The Little Black Boy. And he didn't mean anything by it. Another one was called Minstrels. And it was just the French comment on African life, you know, what they thought, you know, was going on. Characteristics of the spiritual. Characteristics of the spiritual. Rhythm. Rhythm. Gotta have rhythm. Yeah, that's one of my main things. We think we need to do all of this stuff with the spiritual. We think we need to improvise and put some gospel notes in there and all of that. If you get the rhythm and the language right, you don't need to add a thing. You can do just what's on the page. If you understand the call and response of the spiritual, if you understand the different styles of the spiritual, you don't need to add anything. You blow the people away just from your understanding of what the music is. Okay? So let's do a rhythmic exercise, all of us together. All right? Everybody say, the Charleston, 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 the Charleston. All right, this side. We're going to divide it right here in the middle. Here, this side. The Charleston, the Charleston, One, two, three, four. 1, 2. All right, you got here, pa, pa, petit, pa, pa, petit, pa, pa, petit, pa, pa. All right, very popular rhythm in African culture. All right, very popular rhythm. It's got to be clean. Let's do it again. And 1, 2, 3, together. Chris. Good. Very good. It was taken for the habanero and all of those things. Why? All of those influences came from the folk people. Mm-hmm. Go back and listen to all your European music. See? Go back and listen to all of the Turkish things that Mozart pulled things from. Yeah, yes. Wonderful. I'm going home on morning train. I'm going home on morning train. I'm going home, I'm going home. I'm going home on morning train. What's the beat? What's the beat?
2.
What's the beat?
2.
Is it different? What's the beat? Is that the first time you've heard that beat? No, what is it? Y'all missed it. The Charleston. It's the Charleston. It's the same thing. Charleston. Charleston. The Charleston. The Charleston. The Charleston. But you didn't catch it, did you? You didn't catch it. It's the Charleston. And do it again. Very common throughout. Now that's mine. It's copyrighted. Nobody take it. It's the Charleston. Do it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the Charleston. The Charleston. I'm going home on morning train. I'm going home on morning train. I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm going home on morning train. Got my ticket in my hand. I got my ticket in my hand. I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm going home on morning train. Where's home? Where's home? Keep the beat. Where's home? Huh? Yeah. They weren't so concerned about going to heaven. Where do they want to go to? The north? Where? Canada, freedom? Back to Africa? Yes. Yeah. So get right, church, and let's go home. Sing it with me. Get right, church, and let's go home. Get right, church. Get right, church, in harmony. Get right, church, and let's go home. I'm going home on morning train. Repeat that. I'm going home on morning train. Let me hear you. Home. I'm going home on morning train. Oh yeah, we need some work on that. Good stuff. Good stuff. Another characteristic of the spiritual, what? So, polyrhythms is one. If we got to characterize it in European terms. Polyrhythmic. Yes. All right. Another characteristic of the spiritual. Words meaning different things. Moses meant what? That's it. Huh? Or anybody else that was a friend to the enslaved Africans, helping them to freedom. Yes? Some other words. Jordan. What's that? And they say Jordan. Yes?
Could be any sort of river, but frequently it was the Ohio River.
Trying to get across something. We're trying to make it over that. Yeah. And if God could part the Red Sea for whom? Maybe he can part some so I can get through this river and get to the other side. To freedom. Yes? Yes? Other biblical stories that in the spiritual.
Samson and Delilah.
Okay, what about them?
Cut off the hair. Witness.
Witness, yes, yes. There are many different kinds of spirituals. There's a spiritual which is called the Jubilee. And the only definition, this is the different definition that I heard of the Jubilee from my teacher, Lena McLean, is that the Jubilee is a spiritual narrative where there is no personal connection to the deity. That the singer delivering that spiritual expresses no personal connection to the deity. It is just a spiritual narrative. I said, Miss McLean, how did you come up with this? Well, I always knew it. My Uncle Thomas A. Dorsey taught me, and my teacher, Willis James, he taught me, so she didn't give me any reference to a book. But she said this was the Jubilee that she was taught was a spiritual narrative. Let's talk about some spiritual narratives where the singer expresses no personal connection to the deity. Ezekiel saw the wheel. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Some more. Little David, play on your harp. Yes.
Didn't my Lord deliver Daniel?
And why not every man? Yes. He delivered Daniel from everybody. No special. So these are biblical narratives, these jubilees. Now that I need to find, I don't know why I'm so educated that I need to find something in writing that I can footnote this. I haven't been able to find, but this is my teacher through this tradition, this oral tradition, has told me this was the definition of a jubilee. Now other people have other different definitions and consider other songs jubilees. I don't know about that. Okay? All right? Yes, good stuff. We didn't do any vocal polyphony kind of things that I like to do, but that'll allow me to do something next year. Any questions on this little? This is so important. We need to know about our music. We need to know about our music. And if we embrace it, the world will embrace it. Yes. Yeah, gotta feel good about our stuff. How many people competed today? You guys are done competing? How did you do? Good?
Feel okay.
You did okay? Good. That bass voice back there. Guess what? You're a winner just for doing it. You're a winner. That's what you gotta say to yourself. I'm a winner just for being here. I'll never forget there was a competition that I entered, and I had to, because there's so many people telling you you're not a winner. I had to tell myself I'm a winner just for being here. And guess what the judges wrote? He walked out here like he won the thing before it ever started. And because I walked out there like that, they made sure I didn't win. Guess what? I went back 2 more times and won the 3rd time. You're a winner. You got to tell yourself you're a winner. You want to know why? Because this is such a personal instrument. It's not outside of you. And when somebody says you didn't win, on some level we say, you know, not good enough. You got to get rid of that. You're a winner. I can't tell you how many times I sang badly and said I'm a winner. Whew. So laid some notes out there and said, oh Lord, I wish I could take those back. You know? But you get, and if you notice, that's why we as your voice teachers, that's why when you're in a lesson, we're saying, yeah, good. Oh, that's it. That's it. We're using our voices, talking over the piano and all that, trying to encourage you, because the more we stroke you, the more we encourage you, the more we tell you you're on the right track, the more we tell you you're a winner, you free up and just start singing beautifully. So you got to tell yourself you're a winner, no matter what the judges say. Keep telling yourself, you'll walk away with the prize. Because it's the truth. All right, who's singing first? All right, wait till I put on my crown.
Okay.
Come. Now, you know what? I love this song. You have to tell me, how did you come to this song?
Dr. T assigned it to me.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Lena McLean is my teacher. She started me off in high school, and we talked about spirituals just like I'm talking to you now. And I never knew that it would be something that would really make such an impression on me. Well, one day I was at Miss McLean's house, and quite often we sit at her piano, and she'd pull out all her compositions, of many which I've heard many times, but others I hadn't heard. And I said, Miss McLean, what is this, Wait Till I Put On My Crown? She said, you don't know Wait Till I Put On My Crown? She started playing Wait Till I Put On My Crown and started singing it, and I just fell in love with the piece. And so I'm happy that you're gonna sing it for us. All right.
Yes.
What kind of spiritual is this? Hands. Yes. No. It expresses a personal, so it's not a narrative. Yes. Type of spiritual. Call and response. Who makes the call? Who does the response? What's the response? Oh, yes. So the leader, I came this night for to sing and pray. Oh, yes, to drive old Satan far away. Oh, yes. Heavenly home is bright and fair. Oh, yes. But very few can enter there. Oh, yes. Yeah. So you have to know the response. All right? Tempo for this piece should be that, a little fast. Beyond, beat a dee, beat it bong, bang, bong, and. Beat it, tell them.
I came this night for to sing and pray. Oh yes. God won't Satan far away. Oh yes. Happy home is bright and fair. Oh yes. Very few can enter there.
Enter there. And, but very few, and.
But very few can enter there. Oh yes.
Now tell them.
Wait till I put on my crown. Wait till I put on my crown. Wait till I put on my crown. Oh yes.
Tell them.
If you, oh my gosh, it's for
Yeah. You're preaching to them, man. There's an element of the preacher in the
I
spiritual.
was right, okay.
There's an element of the preacher. There's Sylvia Oden Lee. Do you all know that name? Sylvia Oden Lee used to always talk about the preacher. If you want to catch that in the congregation, all right, call and response. And you know, this is nothing new. Where do you think it came from in jazz? You know? I know y'all think that Handel created call and response. And the fugue and all that stuff, you know. But it exists in other places. All right, Anne.
If you wanna catch that heavenly breeze, oh yes. Go down in the valley and on your knees, oh yes. Turn your knees upon the ground, oh yes. Ask your Lord to turn you
Do that for me.
round.
Ask your Lord to turn you. Do that for me.
Ask your Lord to turn you.
Good, do that. Ooh, and hold the ooh for me. Now go from ooh, rah, and guess what? That R is nothing but an ooh. Ooh, rah, listen, look at it. Ooh, rah, ooh, rah. Get that ooh in there so you can get in that head, boy. Sing. Ask your Anne.
Ask your Lord to turn you.
Y'all like that one, Anne?
Oh yes.
Tell them.
Wait till I put on my
Yeah.
crown. Wait till I put on my crown. Wait till I put on my crown. Oh yes. Wait till I put on my crown.
Tell them, wait, come on. Yeah, they better wait.
Wait till I put
on my
on
ooh.
my crown.
Wait till I put on my oh, sing.
Wait till I put on my
And that's your crown. Sing ooh up there, look. Wait till I put on my crown. That's what I want you to sing. Yeah, sing and.
Wait till I put on my crown.
And oh.
Oh yes.
Huh. piano, Miss McGlynn, when she was playing this for me, she said at the end, I want you to do this. Oh, yes, for those last chords. And, oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's where you put it. Or at the end.
Okay.
So, listen, you gonna think, let me hear your A. Now, do this for me. Can you do staccato up there for me? That's it, but it's not ha ha ha. It's gotta be more ooish. Yeah, and oh, and sing. Oh, yes. Yes. Excellent. Now, you have so many oh yeses for them.
Yeah.
Just like the other night, I had so many same trains. How many trains are there? Same train. I'm trying to figure out how can I make same train different after I've sung it 50 times. I've still got more things to do with same train. That's the thing with the spirituals. Very, very repetitive, which is wonderful. You have to find a different idea for oh yes every time. You don't have them. So you're the soloist. You're the caller and the responder. I came this night for to sing and pray. Oh yes, to drive old Satan far away. Oh yes, a heavenly home is bright. Two different voices. Try it again. And the young beat a T and rhythm and beat a
Okay.
Very few can enter the yeah, because if you go okay, but very few can but very few can say and.
But very few can enter
and oh yes, tell them. You better wait. Wait. Now, with spiritual, we got these European lines. Take a breath. Wait till I put on my crown. Wait till I put on my crown. You got that ooh that helps you listen. Wait till I put on my crown. Oh yes, and you got folks just dancing out of there. All right, and then we're gonna do it one time. We're gonna leave. Wait and sing.
Wait till I put on
Breathe.
my crown. Wait till I put
Breathe.
on my
Wait.
crown. Wait till I put
Breathe.
on my crown. Oh yes.
Good. Tell them if you want to catch.
If you wanna catch that heavenly breeze,
Oh yes. Go down in the valley.
on your knees. Oh,
That's the response. Yes. Bow your knees upon the ground.
oh yes.
Oh yes. Make them wait. Ask your Lord. Breathe.
To turn you around.
Oh yes. Wait till I put on my crown. Till I put on my crown. Till I put on my crown. Oh yes. Don't clap. Good. Just clap in your mind. Good. And wait and very good. Let's finish it up and sing and.
Now you're telling me to clap.
No. I'm clapping because you got me happy, but don't start clapping out there and sing. Wait and.
Wait till I put on my crown. Wait till I put on my
Wait.
crown. Wait till I put on my crown.
Put on my and wait till I put on my crown.
Wait till I put on my crown.
Go on.
Oh yes. Oh, ah.
Look, make them wait. yes. Oh, yes. Make them wait. Take your breath, get your position, think ooh or whatever place you're going to put it into. All right? Start it soft if you want to, do whatever you want to, but make them wait for it. And oh, yes, and.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Good. Thank you. Go up there. Yes.
Yeah, okay, that was
Excellent.
better.
Excellent. Who's next? I go to 5:30, yes? Oh, yes? All right. Give me Jesus. You know what? Benjamin Matthews told me this, which is so wonderful about this music. If you can find the emotion and the spiritual connection and the commitment in a spiritual, and you bring that same thing to Schubert, you'll knock him out. Bill Warfield told me the same thing. There's no difference. If you can use it to tap into your artistry, there's no difference. If you do that, we forget about all the other stuff. That's the only, if you really listen to the great Maria Callas, who I'm a great fan, she let out some awful sounds. She did. She was so committed you didn't care. She had you sitting, she had you on the edge of your seat. She had this excitement because you wanted to know if she was going to make it. And she had this will of steel, and she made it. And sometimes, technically, it was pristine. And other times, technically, you were saying, I don't know what's going on. But you know what? She was so committed to it. You didn't care if the vibrato got slow. You didn't care that some people hated her and some people loved her. It's like a friend of mine compared Maria Callas to Billie Holiday. It's an acquired taste. But once you understand what they were doing, you're like, wow. You can get closer to this if you can do this in a spiritual and you turn it on to a Schubert Lied. The people will be weeping and they wouldn't understand it. That's the only reason Roland Hayes was the great success that he was. It was a small voice. But he was so into the music, he became transfixed, and everybody would write about his visage, and he took them on the journey with them. They forgot about the instrument. This will help you get there. All right.
I'm Vaughn Neesmith, and I'll be singing Give Me Jesus by Moses Hogan.
Tell me a little bit about Moses Hogan.
He went to Oberlin.
He sure did. I went there and loved it. Moses was a graduate of Oberlin. If you really look at it, if you go back and you look at Charles Cameron White, and you look at all of these composers, you look at all these African Americans, a lot of them went to Oberlin. Why?
So first school with an African American.
Yes. Yeah. So you have this tradition of great artists coming, composers, violinists, all of that. Roland Hayes couldn't make it to Oberlin, but Oberlin sent many of their teachers to Fisk. So his teacher was an Oberlin graduate. So go on. More about Moses.
He was known for composing and arranging different African American songs and spirituals for choir and soloists.
What was his primary instrument?
Piano.
Piano. He was a competition winner. Won the Chopin competition. Went to Juilliard after that with a piano major. Anything else about Moses?
Not off the top of my
This is
head.
important to us because we all know Moses.
Mm.
You know, I did many of my very first recordings with Moses. And he was at conventions every year, one of the most giving people, went to high school, so we know him. And so it's important for you to know more about him. Yeah, Moses had a choir called the New World Singers. And Moses took that choir, like Hall Johnson, like many of these composers, like Roland Carter. He took his money, he presented these choirs, Carnegie Hall, Lincoln Center, Orchestra Hall, with his money, putting this music out there. Nothing new. Hall Johnson did the same thing. Dawson did the same thing. Chester Harrison did the same thing. Moses did the same thing. You know, giving, training singers, teaching at the university, playing for this, playing in church service, doing all of that. Yes. All right, give me Jesus.
In the morning when I rise, in the morning
Did you introduce yourself?
I did.
Tell me your name.
Vaughn Neesmith.
Vaughn? Vaughn, wonderful. You all will be sorry to hear that the enslaved Africans that came to this country were not Christian. Yes, they were not Christian. So, they had their different ideas about religion, God. God wasn't separate. There were different stratifications. Okay? So you had high God. You had the recently dead. You had the unborn. You had those that are walking around. You had the animals, and you had the insects, and you had the storms, and you had the rains, and you had all of this stuff, and all of it was God. And then you had this thing that could address all of that, which was what? Music. Okay? So, why did the enslaved Africans accept this character, Jesus? Any ideas? Well, yes?
Originally they had to because of their slave owners. That's who they believed in.
Yes?
But then they came to know him for themselves and not in the distorted way that they were.
Some interesting things. Good similarities that they have with Jesus.
Struggle.
Huh?
Struggle.
Struggle.
And original disapproval by everyone around.
Oh, I like that. Guess what? He had to be taken from, he was royalty, not recognized as royalty, had to be taken from his own land and taken where? Which is where? Had to be taken to Africa, okay, in order to be saved. Oh, so we have a connection there. What else about this Jesus character?
He was also beaten as well.
Beaten, and ultimately what? Hung like many enslaved Africans. Isn't that interesting? And was able to what? Let's say transcend that. So if Jesus can transcend it, maybe there's something in it for me. Maybe I can do it too. Always preached what? Love. Okay? Interesting, huh? Interesting. Very interesting. What does Jesus represent?
Freedom.
Freedom. Who said it? You got that. You were in my class last year. Freedom. Freedom. Give me freedom. You can have all this stuff. And when I come to die, I want freedom from all this. Dark midnight was my cry, give me freedom. Think freedom. Jesus represents all of that. Let's try it again. Another thing with the spiritual, these long phrases, we have different spirituals. What? So the one we just did was what? The one we just did was what? Call and response, right? Spirituals can fall into different categories. This one is what? Long phrase melodic. Our long phrase melodic spirituals are nobody knows, swing low, sweet chariot. But there can be two, all right? This is long phrase melodic, but it could also be call and response. What's the response? Give me Jesus. What's the first verse? How does it start?
In the morning when I rise.
In the morning when I rise. In the morning when I rise. In the morning when I rise, congregation.
Give me Jesus.
Give me Jesus, give me Jesus, give me Jesus. You can have all this world.
Give me Jesus.
You say it so many times, we got to find all kinds of different ways to say it. Think of freedom. Also, these legato spirituals, who was it? Dawson told me, I had the opportunity to work with him. I don't care how slow the spiritual is, it's got to have that pulse. In the morning know, Marietta Simpson recorded this with she's around here. Have you heard her recording of this with Moses? She recorded this with Moses. Moses was so wonderful. He would call us up and take us into the studio. I've done about 5 of Moses's things. Marietta, so listen to that. But in the morning when I rise, give me freedom. All right, let's try it. And I don't care how slow it is. It has to keep that pulse. Up. Now you said in the morning when I rise 3 times. Each time you got to come with another meaning. Or it's got to be more emphatic. I still have to find 50 more reasons to say same train. Because it happens so many, you mean the same train? Yeah, the same train. In the morning when I rise, in the morning when I rise, in the morning. When I rise, you know what I want, people? Give me freedom. All right, we'll find a different way each time. Okay, and
in the morning when I rise, in the morning when I rise, in the morning when I rise, give me freedom.
Tell them, what do you want?
Give me freedom. Give me freedom. You may have all.
You can have it. Freedom. Let me tell you something else. Freedom, saying
freedom.
Okay.
You may have.
Do this for me. Don't go freedom, freedom. Stay in line, saying
freedom, you may have all this world. Give me freedom.
good. Oh, I was low. Very good, very good. But don't raise your hands for that dark. Don't raise for that.
Dark midnight was my cry. Dark midnight was my cry.
Say it again 3 times.
Dark midnight was my cry.
You're going to run into this with the spiritual. You're going to run into this with the spiritual all the time. It's like the blues. You're going to state it 3 times. You're going to state the condition 3 times. Then you're going to state the resolution. My baby left me, I don't know why. My baby left me, I don't know why. My baby left me, I don't know why. She took my money, she took my car, she left me high and dry. All right, you're going to do it 3 times. Dark midnight was my cry. Did you hear me? Dark midnight was my cry. Make them wait for it. Give me freedom. Okay? And
dark midnight was my cry.
dark
Midnight was my cry. Dark midnight was my cry. Give me freedom.
Good. I'm going to do it one more time, then want to stop. I want you to do the dark midnight. What was my cry the 3 times? Then I want you to deliver the punchlines. Okay? All right, put your hand right here. Dark and
Dark midnight was my cry.
say it again.
Dark
Yes,
midnight was my
Let them know at this time.
Dark midnight
play with that idea of freedom. Still say Jesus, but recognize what Jesus represents. Okay? That will color the whole way that you do this. You understand that the strong beats of the spiritual are on 1 and 3. Okay? Strong and jazz and blues 1 and 3. Jazz 2 and 4. Okay? So you gotta hone in on that beat. That's a big Ben Matthews thing of honing in on the beat. Dark midnight was my cry. Dark midnight. Yeah, so find the strong beats. Excellent. Who's next? What are you singing?
I am going to be singing Watch and Pray.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Tell me something about Undine Smith Moore.
Well, she was born in Virginia.
Born in Virginia?
She attended quite a few colleges. I think first she attended Fisk University.
Yes, go on.
Then she went on to study at Columbia.
Okay.
Juilliard.
Some work at Juilliard, yes.
There was one more, I think, but I forgot. What else did she do? She was upset about, I think the lack of knowledge of African American history in terms of music. So I think she started an organization,
Okay.
like a center. I don't know where the center is.
Well, where does she teach?
No, it wasn't composition.
Virginia State.
Oh, you said where did she?
Where does she teach?
Oh.
She taught at Virginia State. She taught some at Virginia Union.
Mm-hmm.
Wrote a lot of art songs and spirituals. Really mentored Camilla Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think, is this written for Camilla Williams?
Yes, it is.
Okay, do you know anything about Camilla
I
Williams?
don't.
Yeah, this is interesting because when you talk about this music, Dean Patterson knows Undine Smith Moore. Dr. Shirley knows Undine Smith and knew Undine Smith Moore and knew Camilla Williams. And so all this connection, Dr. Toppin's father taught at Virginia State. He knew Undine Smith Moore very well, and Louise Toppin grew up across the street from Virginia State. And so all of this, but Undine Smith Moore, a wonderful composer. So interesting, everybody knows about Florence Price because I believe Dr. Ray Linda Brown, who specialized in the music of Florence Price, passed away last year. And I think she went up to the heavens and shook things around, and then they finally found all of this music in an old house of Florence Price up in Illinois. And now the New York Times and everybody's writing about Florence Price, and quartets are doing Florence Price, and everybody's singing Florence Price, and orchestras are doing Florence Price. When, in order to get Florence Price's first piece performed with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra that says, we were the first to do. No, the Chicago Music Association of the National Association of Negro Musicians hired members of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra to debut Florence Price's first piece. So they paid for it. And now Florence Price is out there and it's wonderful. But there's so many more. There's Undine Smith Moore. There's so many of these composers. And like Schubert and Brahms and Beethoven, we can tell you all the stories about that. We need to know about Undine Smith Moore. And a regal, beautiful woman. I sang for her as a college student at Virginia Union University, and just elegant, just a wonderful, wonderful woman, brilliant woman. Watch and Pray. Tell me about Watch and Pray.
Well, it is a conversation between a parent or mother and a child. And throughout the song, the child is asking, Mama, is Massa gonna send us tomorrow? Or is Massa gonna sell us tomorrow? Is Massa gonna send us down to Georgia? And hesitantly, the mother keeps on saying yes, 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 and she continues to cry because she's worried about the separation is very sad, and it happens a lot. So Yeah.
It's a dialogue, kind of like my father. What's that? Earl King, yes. A dialogue. So you have these different characters. Doesn't have to be just one child. She could have 2 or 3 children. Undine Smith Moore has taken this African American folk song, this spiritual, and made it into an operatic Shana. It really is a Shana. It's really a scene. She paints the picture of the life in slavery. It could be Mississippi or wherever, just with the first introductory chorus. So let's hear it. Watch and pray.
Mama is massa con a salon.
Wonderful. You know what I love about this competition is that many of the competitors keep coming, returning, and they get better and better, and it's really fantastic. Some very, very good work here. Excellent work. This is good work in the beginning to do this turn, but in a concert setting, it's going to be too much. And so, if you could find yourself in a position, all you can really do, stand here so you can see me. All you can really do is refer here and maybe here. Doing a full turn is too much.
Okay.
You don't want to look schizophrenic that you're doing all of those. And so it's really an art to that, and there are many songs like that. And like I said, the Earl King, you know, you have narrator, you have father, you have the Earl King, and so a slight turn of the head, a slight, but a full turn is too much. Okay, and so you can find them. You can find mother here, maybe daughter there, wherever you, and find those places. And if you go to those places, the most you can do is maybe a step forward or something like that. But to do an actual turn will be kind of much. Okay, all right, some good stuff. Let's work on this a bit, which is wonderful. Mama, is Masa gonna sell us tomorrow? 16th notes, keep that drive going. This beginning, what's happening during the introduction? What's the picture in your mind? So many things could be happening there. I want you to think about that. The little girls could be coming into the house and timidly getting ready to ask Mama. It can be a picture of beautiful. These plantations were beautiful. It could be just the opening interlude of life on the plantation. You know, we can see the big house and we can see then the slave quarters of where Mama is. All of that can be going on in this introduction. This could be steps of the girl coming up and scared to ask Mama and all of that. So all of that, you did some of that. We just need to flesh that out much more, okay? And we need to see all of that. I don't know if anybody has ever seen Maria Callas singing the arias from Carmen at Covent Garden. Well, she stands there for the entire prelude to Carmen. And she doesn't move a muscle. But as she stands there, you see the toreador, you see Carmen, you see the dancers, you see she doesn't move a muscle, but she paints the entire picture doing the prelude. And I thought, how masterful. What singer wants to stand out there for the whole prelude before they get ready to sing the habanera and their arias? But she stands there, and you see the whole show of Carmen go on in her mind's eye before she sings the habanera. And who's seen it? It's a work of art. We've got to see that here. Okay? We've got to see how this whole thing is going to play out in these first chords. Let's just do a little bit of that. Oh, good. Nice. Now the girl is finally getting the courage to ask Mama and keep the 6 notes moving.
Mama, is Massa gonna sell us tomorrow? Yeah.
We just need to change the focus. Look. Sell us tomorrow. Mama. Yeah. Yes. I just need to see something for Mama. And go on, Mama. Is Massa gonna sell us tomorrow? And Mama, is Massa gonna sell us? Don't take too much time there. And
Mama, is Massa gonna sell us tomorrow?
give me Mama.
Yeah.
Good. Take a little bit more time with Mama. Sell us tomorrow. A hand can come up for Mama. Yes. All right. Is Massa gonna sell us tomorrow? And
Is Massa gonna sell us tomorrow? Yeah.
good.
Yes.
Still look out.
Yes.
Little girl again, confidence. Ask Mama again.
Mama,
Yes. Is Massa gonna sell Wait. Go on. Yes. Come on with your hands or something, mama. Little girl, more confidence. Mama. Mama, yes, yes, yes. Now, you have to decide if this is a little girl or if this is mama for this holler. You decide. Could be mama doing the holler or it could be the little girl. It's your decision. Masa gonna sell us tomorrow and sing. Is Masa gonna sell us tomorrow?
Is Masa gonna sell us tomorrow?
That's all. Wait. Fabulous choice. Who was it? It was the child. Give her a little bit more cry. Not so pretty. That was brilliant. That was brilliant. If you notice, most people, mama will do the cry. Do yours a little bit differently. Make it soft. Oh. You can do the cry because you've heard mama moan plenty of time. It's a part of your culture. You know this cry. Serena does it in Porgy and Bess. Let me hear your moan. Let me hear the little girl moan. Fabulous, Anne.
Nope.
It's okay. Now, look, no, it's good. Look, if you go up for it, you rob yourself. Plant yourself for it. Keep that a regal posture. Then this won't come up. All right, Anne. Now, moan here. Now tell mama to watch and pray. Mama tell her.
Watch and pray.
Good. Let's keep going on. I know I got one more. Go on. Is he? Where's he gonna send us, mama?
Gonna send us down to Georgia.
Oh, not to Georgia. Down to Georgia, down to Georgia, down to
Georgia, down.
I've heard about Georgia. It's a million miles not there. All right. And is he gonna send us down to Georgia? Quickly. Is he gonna? And
Is he gonna send us down to Georgia?
oh no, mama.
Down to Georgia,
Down to Georgia, down to Georgia. Nobody as you come. This is where you come in. Nobody answers. You answer. You know. Go on.
Mama, oh my God. Is Masa gonna send us down to Georgia?
You gotta make a choice. Now you had a fit down to Georgia, down to Georgia, down to Georgia, down to Georgia. This time, mama. Not for real, mama. Is Masa going to sell us down to Georgia? You got it? Good stuff. You can take all day with this. That's really a shame. And what will make it a work of art? You know, each aria, each lied. You know, we go to the museum and we see Van Gogh, we see Van Gogh. Each song is a work of art. Every detail, every T, where you use the consonants, every color. It takes hours to put that together, okay? I remember when I was going to school, I spent hours on Ventarizer and hours on that, and then I get to my few spirituals at the end, and the teacher didn't care, sing them any way you want to. It's an art too. I spent my life trying to tell people this is an art too. It's worse. I got the same phrase, same train to sing 50 times. I got to find a different way to sing each one of them. You know, we have that in strophic songs with Schubert. You got to find a different element, Wonderful. Who's my last singer? Very quickly, come. Oh my goodness. What are you singing?
Toccata from.
That's fabulous. Come on, let's hear the horses. We got started late. Y'all came to my class 5 minutes late. I gotta go over. All right, come on.
Run on, King Jesus, oh, man, can I last, no man works like him. King Jesus rides a milk-white horse, no man works like him. The river of Jordan he did cross, no man works like him. Ride on, King Jesus, no man can hinder me. Ride on, King Jesus, ride on, no man can hinder me. Ride on, King Jesus, no man can hinder me. Ride on, King Jesus, no man can hinder me. Ride on, King Jesus, ride on, ride on, ride. No man, no man, no man, no man, no man, no man can hinder me.
Bravo. I love the spiritual as an art song and love what John Carter's done. And it's a duet because you're the horses and you have so much going on here. What are you saying?
What do you mean?
What are you saying through this song?
That I am triumphant and no one can stop me because
Look at what Jesus did. You know the sisters will get, if they couldn't stop him, they ain't gonna stop me. Ride on, Jesus. Can't nobody hinder me. You ain't seen nobody get happy like that. So, and let me tell you something. It's two different spirituals, though. Ride on King Jesus is spiritual, and this is Hall Johnson did this. Hall Johnson originally did Ride on King Jesus. He is King of Kings, Lord of Lords. That's a whole nother spiritual. They put those two together. Okay? And so when John Carter did this, he put the same two together as well. All right? That's got to be, and wait. Watch Jesus ride. Oh, you see him on his milk white horse. Yeah, that's me. I'm riding with Jesus. No man, no. Folks ought to jump up and want to have church when you're done. All right? You come in with those horses, strong, but then as soon as he come in, you back off the horses. Let me get an introduction again, quickly. Your tone has to change as soon as he comes in. All right, and he should never feel like he's competing with you. Never. And
ride on, King Jesus, no man can hinder me. Ride on, King Jesus, ride on, no man can hinder me.
in the spiritual, take a breath. You don't need them European long phrases. You're going to have more impact if you take a breath. Take a breath. All right, you don't have to do those together. Take a breath. All right, very good. Excellent. And again. See them horses ride. Yeah, Jesus, there he is.
Ride on, King
Yeah,
Jesus,
see him ride.
no man can hinder me. Ride on, King Jesus, ride on, no man can hinder me. Ride on, King Jesus, no man can hinder me.
See him ride.
Ride on, King Jesus, ride on, no man can hinder.
Ride on, no man cannot hinder. Take a breath. Ride on, no man. And they weren't concerned about no long phrase. And go on.
Ride on, no man cannot hinder me. He is King of kings.
Yeah.
He is Lord
What about him?
of lords.
Tell me about him. What about him?
Jesus Christ, first
What
and
about
last.
him?
No man works like him. King Jesus rides a milk-white horse.
I love the mood that you start with this. When you come back in, he's not singing. Come back in with the horses. Yeah, come back.
Okay.
And go on. The change. Let's do the change. The first one. And.
He's King of Kings.
That has to spark something in you. You hear the change in me. Let me tell you about Jesus. You'll hear it in the music, yeah? And.
He's King of
What about him?
Kings. He's Lord of
Oh, yeah, what about him?
Jesus Christ, the first and last. No man works like him. King Jesus rides a milk-white horse. No man works like him.
Breathe.
The river of Jordan, he
You excited,
did
boy?
cross.
No man works like him. You see him riding again.
Ride on, King Jesus. No man can hinder me. Ride on, King Jesus.
And I'm gonna finish. What I'm not getting from it is because Jesus is riding what? Make it personal.
No man can hinder me.
You can't hurt me. The trap you set for me, you gonna fall in it yourself. The harder you squeeze me, the sweeter I'm gonna smell. Whatever you need to do to say no man can hinder me, get back. That's what I need to say. You don't have to do it, but that's what I need to say. Excellent. Thank you. Bravo. Singers, if you are in the finals, do your thing. Don't try to do it. Just get up there and do what you've been doing. Don't try to do anything different. Do what you've been doing. It got you this far. You understand what I'm saying? Great, great.